Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. It's Monday morning, December 28th, 2020. Thank you so much for joining me today on today's episode of Best Stock Picks Today. If you find these videos helpful, definitely click down and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. So today the stimulus package looks like it's signed. It looks like the market's up. Futures are trading up 27 points, the S&P E-minis right now. So what does that mean? What are we looking for again in this short week? Probably a little bit better trading towards the end of the week than last week. New Year's Eve is still a pretty tradable holiday compared to Christmas Eve, the day before the holiday. So we should get 4 good trading days in this week. We have a couple of stocks that had some news over the weekend, seeing explosions coming out of the optimal entry. So that's the key. We're going to talk about that today. 2 stocks that traded well, traded into a pause, did exactly what we wanted them to do. Looking for today to be the entries after the optimal entry, spiking a little bit higher this morning, but still have profit potential. So what that means is if this is the optimal trade and the entry is now up a little bit further, you can still take the trade, still have the same profit target, but because the reward potential has changed a little bit compared to the risk, it's smart trading to lower the share size a little bit on your initial entry because we're past the optimal entry. So we're going to take a look at those two. Interestingly, we're also going to take a look at a stock that has the setup of potentially breaking out today and heading higher, but the last couple of days of trading were not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So we're going to give you the exact price action to watch in this stock today, and we're going to show you something that traded very similar to that last week that had a monstrous failure that now we're actually looking to be a buyer of today. So a kind of lesson on top of learning how to read the tape in a little bit more detail. So we're actually going to start out with CLSK today. So let's hop over. Let's first take a look at the futures market. And you can see that the world and the market is really liking the fact that the bill is finally getting signed. Looks like there's going to be a little bit extra money in the paycheck as well. So that's actually a pretty good sign. But what we're going to talk about right now is whether or not they actually hold the bid. So this higher opening, we need to see if it goes up and goes sideways and new bids support it, and we'll look for a new push higher. We're going to start out with taking a look at CLSK. Now, again, you can see we actually had 2 days of consolidating after a momentum move. That's one of the biggest things we're trying to train everybody to do is see a push and a pause, and that pause gives you a spot to get in to manage risk, looking for the next same kind of push higher. Now, the problem here with CLSK is the fact that it's already up 13%, which takes it above last week's highs. It's not a problem. We actually still have a profit target here of $36. So there's still $8 left in the trade. So you have to adjust your entry and the amount you're willing to risk in exchange for $8 as opposed to looking at a little bit more, which coming into today, we were looking for around 11 or 12. FUBO is another one that we called out earlier last week. We called for profit taking. We got profit taking. If you remember here, we said that a higher opening, the further and further it pushed higher, you should be trailing up that stop because of the percentage moves of some of these stocks are making. Well, it saw profit taking. Hopefully you trailed it up with us. Now we got a really good clean 2-day pullback with an expected lower opening. So here's the trade that we're looking at in FUBO today, FUBO TV. We're looking to buy a lower opening. We're looking for the stock to open here, push a little bit lower, find support, and then look for a reversal to the upside, and then looking for it to retest 62.50. BLNK, very similar to what we were just talking about in CLSK, and you can see it's already up $2.30. This one's going to be a little bit easier to trade because it's actually still inside of Friday's price action. But you can see here, not Friday, Thursday's price action. There was nothing going on Friday, but this was the optimal entry. So again, as is pretty good illustration here that as you get further away from the optimal entry, that is now diminishing the reward potential for the risk you have to take. Remember, this is the part of tape reading that's separate from do you have an edge? Is you can have an edge and everything could look good, but what is the potential that you could earn for accepting the risk? So in this case, the profit target that we're looking at is $60 here, which is still decent, even if we open around 52, but an $8 profit target as opposed to here, which was the optimal entry, which is roughly $13. That's a big difference. So we can still take the trade. We need to manage the share size on our initial entry a little bit different. I want to talk about DQ, which was the trade that we're looking at on Friday. And this was a big topic of conversation in the boot camp last week, where the stock gave us an optimal entry and broke out, but on this particular day here, you can see how weak it was. It closed well off the high. So the first trade of the next day would be looking for a test of that previous day's high and whether or not we push through and pause looking for another entry, or if we get up there immediately and the sellers come back in, which is what the sellers controlled this open. Even though it closed above the open, it closed well off the high. And you can see the next day that the test of the previous day's high happened immediately. Buyers did not come back in, sellers did come back in, and we had 2 days of selling in the stock. So now, actually, now that it's pulled back for a couple of days, we're looking for the opposite now. We're actually looking for a test of the low here around 53 and change. So a lower opening and a test. What was the exact number? I just want to punch that in there really quickly. 53.17. So we're actually looking for it to open lower, find support above Friday. I keep saying Friday, Thursday's low, and buyers to come back in and look for this to retest back up to the upside. So that's the two different scenarios in DQ. One where a failed test and rolled over. Now we're looking for a successful test of the previous day's low, looking for support. So the trade that is similar, setting up on that right now, is SBE. It looks great. It's actually opening up a little bit higher today, but this is the part of tape reading that you really need to dig into a little bit to really take your trading to the next level. We got up here and failed. We got up here and failed. So we've gotten up to above this $47 to $48 level twice and failed twice. So 48, we're going to open up just above that this morning. So this would not be a trade we'd get in early. You'd look to confirm whether or not price is holding the bid and staying above 48. If it doesn't, it can get crushed pretty hard here. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next trade plays out. So again, on a breakout, you want to see follow through. You want to see one of these, right? So we got a breakout here and we did not get that. We failed. We got another well-bid candlestick here and we failed. You have to pay attention to the tape. So today's first price action to watch in SBE is a successful test of Friday's high and whether or not the buyers come back in. So a little bit of massaging of this. Now, you might say, well, I can't be at my screen. I can't watch this all during the market, but this is a part of trading. If you can't, then that's not a trade that you should be taking. If you can't, and you don't have a time during the day to be watching this, then you need to adjust. We talked about a trading plan today. This is all part of your trading plan that you should only be taking trades that you're available for. Don't worry about if somebody else is day trading and they can watch this at 10 a.m. and they're not working, they're trading full time. You need to build the trading scenario around what you normally do. So you might actually have an alert set for Thursday's high, and then you take a look at the charts and see if you want to do something. You could have a buy stop of your fewest shares above Friday's high. So now it's in your system, and now you're going to read the tape based on your entry signal. But this is going to be interesting to watch in SBE to see if it gets above 48 again, if the sellers come back in, because we have 2 days of failing there. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I like the long, but I need to see the buyers come back. Next, we're going to take a look at SQ. Really good. I was looking for a lower opening, again, very similar. We had well offered candles here. I was looking for a test of the low, which was around 226 in that area, but we're actually opening higher. So we're going to end up forming a swing low depending on whether or not we actually trade above 235, which looks like we're going to get that out of the open. So I like SQ for another run higher, probably around a $30 move higher off of this pullback. Let's see. Tesla formed a swing low on Friday as well. Thursday, I keep saying Friday. Swing low and actually looking for a new move higher there as well. And again, Thursday's high would be the new entry if you're looking for a new trade. The financial stocks, again, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Citigroup all traded into an optimal entry. So we're looking for a new trade outside of last week's trading range. JKS is another strong stock that pulled back. Now, again, this is a good example here of a stock that had momentum. Optimal entry, gave some good signals and was a very tradable opportunity, then traded into a reversal, pulled back one more day, closed on the low. So today I would have been looking for a trade to, again, test Thursday's low. We're actually opening up a little bit higher. So this is a trade that is not perfect. You can see the tape has changed dramatically here. So it's a momentum stock, not order flow, a momentum stock that rallied, pulled back. So if I take this trade today, it'll be less share size, because if you look to the left, excuse me, it doesn't look like this. It looks like this. So recognizing the tape that it's less obvious, that changes how you manage the position. I'm going to finish up with FEYE, which was on a lot of people's radar last week. Really good, clean explosion, pulled back for a couple of days. Now, again, this is what separates somebody who lasts as a trader versus somebody who's just looking for excitement. This is only a couple of days worth of price action. That big green spike, the stock almost doubled, which is awesome. Now we paused a little bit. This is the first time we're looking for the buyers to hold the bid. We're looking for smart money to come back in and say, okay, I like it still here. If that happens, you start working a position in the stock, because you can't look to the left and say, gosh, smart money's been allocating money to this stock for a while. We're not seeing that yet. It's only a few days. So based on the fact that it's only a few days for smart money, you tiptoe in along with them. And let's see, JMIA is another one. Strong stock, pulled back for a couple of days, looking for a test of 42. Looks like it's going to open a little bit higher. And Upwork, finishing out the list of new ideas for today. Again, another pullback. Looks like we're going to open up at or near. So this is actually a little bit cleaner. Thursday's low is going to be the area. So a lot going on here again today. I think we're going to get a little bit better of a trading week. I think that this is going to be super interesting, whether or not the stimulus catalyst is already priced in, and we see a little bit of sell the news today. However, if we don't see that and we start to remain strong after the first day of trading, which obviously right now is Monday, it could be validating what we've been saying for a while now, that the market needs a new catalyst, which we were joking around. It needs a new stimulus. Looks like we got it. And if you were around in March through August, it was amazing, amazing trading. So let's learn from recent history. Let's identify the tape. Tell us if it's still valid. Tell us if it has legs, like we like to call it. If it does, we can have a good couple of months. So let's see how it unfolds. If you have any questions about any of these picks, let me know. Have a great day.